What is the process that goes into bringing together everything that Axio Wealth Management does, the dream team, getting them to work together, and then also moving forward with your plan? What does that process look like? We're going to take you inside that today with Rob and kind of explain a little bit more of that so you get a better understanding of Axio Wealth and how they can help you. Welcome in. This is Legacy Beyond Wealth. I'm Ben George with Rob Shelton at Axio Wealth Management. Rob, good to kind of finish up this conversation a little bit about your discovery process and kind of how you work with your clients. We've talked a lot about the dream team. I encourage you to go back to those videos. Some really good information about how Rob collaborates, how his team works with other professionals that have different specialties to come together to find solutions that fit what you're looking for. And today, Rob, I think it's interesting because we're going to talk about the process. And when we talk about this, we've used some sports metaphors, so we might as well stick to that for this video. But it's like the great teams, right? You know what's coming, but can you stop it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of those that come to mind is Vince Lombardi. Back in the 1960s, he had his offense running the power sweep on a regular basis. And they ran it so often, almost everybody knew it was coming. And you saw when it was coming, but they executed at such a high level. Very few people were able to stop that. And so, that's when we take a look at creating your dream team of professionals for you. We want to have that same type of success, that it's repeatable, that we can run it over and over again and continue to see the success that comes from it.
Yeah, we're going to take you into that process and what it looks like at Axio Wealth Management. If you want to learn more, go to axiowm.com and also hit subscribe on the channel if you haven't done that yet. We'd appreciate that support. Leave a comment too if you have a question for Rob as well. So kind of take me into that process, Rob, because I know, look, anybody can do what you do, right? I guess on paper, but how do you do it at such a level to where it's repeatable every time and you can perform at such a high level for your clients?
Yeah, I think that process must take into account failures. I don't know anyone that got the recipe right at the very first go. We all hear about Thomas Edison and how many times it took him to be able to invent the light bulb. And so that's one thing that's very important to us is literally every Friday, our team gets together and says, hey, what went good this week? What didn't go so good? And we evaluate that and we say, okay, how do we make improvements along the way? We want to do the same thing for your dream team and look at making sure that we're all operating at a high capacity. But to be able to do that, you kind of got to have the training and the practice and the tools that you can go through to be able to make those processes repeatable on a regular basis. And so when we look at the 5 concerns the wealthy have, they usually are surrounded around making smart decisions about money, tax planning, wealth transfer, asset protection, and charitable giving. And so what we've done is developed a service model that's catered to address those concerns at a really deep level.
Yeah, and we talked about kind of how in the dream team early in that process, you collaborate with people to kind of help identify solutions. But how do you can keep that process kind of ongoing, Rob? Because I know building this plan is one thing, but managing it and as your life evolves and changes, it takes regular updates and meetings, right?
Yeah, it does. And if I could just share a funny example with you, I have a son that is so enthralled with science. He loves anything science. And so that was probably not my strongest topic at school. And so trying to relate with him at times, we're learning together. And, we were talking the other day about the second law of thermodynamics, which never thought I'd be having that kind of discussion with my child, but it's basically talking about how nothing gets better over time. It all deteriorates. And so if you think about it, you buy a new car, it eventually starts to have issues or problems, and it needs regular maintenance and tune-ups and things of that nature to continue to perform at the level that you want it to as an automobile. Same thing with your financial affairs and those 5 areas we talked about. We can bring the dream team together and collaborate and come out with some action steps. But how do we have the regular tune-ups to make sure we don't have to do an engine overhaul every 3 years? Because that can get very expensive and very frustrating to be able to have that happen. So what we've done at Axio is we've taken those different areas that are a concern for a client. We said, hey, making a smart decision with money, that ought to be addressed in every meeting we have with a client. And then depending upon their service level, we're breaking up the rest of the meetings to be able to address the wealth transfer strategies, the asset protection strategies, the charitable giving strategies, and the tax planning that needs to be there for the client. And, I don't know if you've ever raced a car before there, Ben, or been a pilot in a plane, or even in an ER where they get ready to go into a surgery on a major medical issue. But most of these industries all use something called checklists.
Yeah.
To make sure that when you got things operating, you can go through and do it. Even when you go get your oil changed, I guarantee you that the company is using some kind of a checklist to make sure that they covered everything that needs to be done at that service level. So in each of these meetings, we've created checklists specific for that wealth transfer strategy. And having that dream team together has really allowed us to have that collaborative input of things we ought to be looking at when someone comes in for a tune-up. And our team can go through and provide that checklist. The thing that kind of started this whole conversation up a few episodes ago, Ben, was that heat map that we talked about. And you look at where the advisor says, hey, I'm performing here, and the client's saying, the service I got was here, and there's that gap that exists. What we're looking at is saying these checklists help that communication to be able to address concerns and give clients that assurity that, hey, we're looking at things, and here's what we've done for you over the last 90 days to address concerns that are in that wealth transfer. And occasionally there might be a gap that needs to be addressed. One that I see as a regular basis is clients are really good at getting their trust taken care of with an attorney. But the one thing that falls through the cracks more often than not, I find, is going down to the bank and putting on the checking or the savings account, either the money directly into the trust or just having a what they call paid upon death designation, that it would move upon their death into the trust. And so often we joke, we spend all this time and money creating the actual entity, but being able to let it perform where it needs to without it backfiring, if you will, we got to address some of those concerns.
Are you ready to unlock the freedom to live your best life? Schedule your no-cost 60-minute discovery meeting with our team today. During this session, we'll take the time to understand your family story and financial dreams. Together, we'll craft a personalized roadmap designed to help you achieve your goals. Let's explore how we can unlock the freedom for you and your family to thrive. Just click the link in the description of today's show to get started.
Yeah, I like that you brought it back to that heat map, and that's something we discussed a few videos ago, so go back and check that out. But I guess that is a big part of it too, is just being able to lay out and paint that picture for them. Okay, here's what you identify, or here's what we identified as needs to take care of, and here's how we're performing each one of those, so that it's not left open to interpretation. Not that heat map is completely accurate, that some advisors aren't performing at the level that they think they are, but at least it helps keep that communication and checks those boxes of expectation that you set along the way.
Yeah, there's a saying out there, is perception reality?
Yeah.
And there's that great debate. Yes, it is, or no, it's not. And I tend to fall in that camp. Well, it is reality, because that's the reality that individual with that perception knows. And so the more that we can paint that picture of reality for the client of what we're trying to do and provide for them, I find that they're extremely grateful for that and to be able to receive those services.
How often, when you're working through these checklists and these different areas that people care about, that are priorities, do you find things that need attention?
Yeah. We had, give you a couple of examples. We had a meeting with a client here recently. We reviewed their estate plan, and we review their estate plan every year for, 3-4 years now, and usually no changes that come up. And in our checklist, we didn't necessarily identify any change that had to be made, but we always say, hey, here's who you want to have. They have minor children. We said, here's who we have down that you've entrusted to take care of your minor children. And they went, ooh, that's changed. This individual that we originally had suggested or put down is going through some pretty traumatic things in their life right now. I don't think that they'd be the right person. Still think the world of the individual and care about them, but I don't think that added stress of taking care of our kids on top of what they're going through would be the right move. So we need to make a change there. And so, some things you can see coming down, and some things just come out of the blue, because as we've talked about, life happens while you're planning what you're going to do with your life, right? We're on this conveyor belt, if you will, and we can't ever just hit stop and pause life to address things. It's always going. And so we need to have things that are flexible and malleable, that we can be able to shift the sails, if you will, to capture the headwinds that's best for the client.
All right, very good. Well, pretty good process that you guys have put together. I know if you want to learn more, there's more information on the website, Axio WM. You can learn more about what they do, how they help clients. And if you want to connect, you can do that there as well. But that first step is always, Rob, that discovery meeting, right? I mean, that's kind of where you truly find out what people need, where these areas are, so that, you can close that heat gap or warm it up, I guess, turn all those boxes red.
Yeah, and I would say, big part of these videos and podcasts, the reason we're doing it, Ben, is whether people decide to work with us or not, we're kind of on a mission, and we want to be able to help people out and have the broadest impact that we can have. And so, if you're sitting down and have some of these questions, I think it'd be great to ask your current professional that you're using. You're also welcome to reach out to us for that discovery process as well, and we could be able to go through it. But I find that foundation is so important. If you don't feel like you have the good understanding of the situation, very hard to be able to provide solutions. The other day I was talking with the CEO there at Franklin Covey, and they're known for the start of the 7 habits of highly effective individuals,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. And one of those is seek to understand and then to be understood. And I think a lot of times that's lost in our everyday life. Sometimes we're so motivated to just move on to the next things. We're in such a hurry to move on to the next item. I love that discovery process where we can slow things down and try to really understand the client so we could be able to provide solutions that are very impactful to them.
Yeah, that's great. Well, look, that's the whole goal of this channel, right? Is to help educate, make you aware of these things, talk through the process that Rob goes, but help you just get a better understanding of what all it takes to be successful and help manage your wealth. And again, if you enjoy that conversation, please subscribe to the channel. We'll have more of it coming out. We'll cover more of what Axio does, but also just kind of help you in general with this process. It's not easy if you haven't done it before, and it's what Rob does every day at Axio Wealth. So, Rob, thanks for your time. I really enjoyed kind of learning more about discovery and especially the dream team. So thanks for taking us through it.
Awesome. Thanks, Ben.